Is Meghan sad? The Duchess Kate's bold action with the Cambridge children backfired. The Duchess of Cambridge's decision to fire the starting gun on the royal careers of her children is a risky move that may very well backfire. Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Sussex Daily News YouTube channel. Years of meticulous planning went into the preparations for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. A great deal of preparation went into the horses, fireworks, puppets, fighter jets, the CGI bear, as well as getting Kate Moss out of bed before midday. But there was one crucial factor courtiers seemed to overlook: the wonderful power of small children hyped up on sugar. The royal family children stole the show during Trooping of the Colour, the party at the palace, as well as at the People's Pageant. The most notable children were the children of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Throughout these various events, the three children were entertained by their Tyndall and Phillips cousins, who put on a high-spirited demonstration of monkey business. Such entertainment had not been seen since the evenings when Princess Margaret would hit her second bottle of gin. Mike Tyndall, who was married to Princess Anne's daughter Zara, stated during a podcast appearance this week that one of the reasons for the royal children's hyperactive behavior was because of the amount of sweets they had eaten. He stated that little Louis was just wanting to have some fun. He stated that it was difficult to try and control the children, as his two are particularly mischievous as well. A lot of sweets had been consumed, and therefore there was a real sugar high. How could one keep a 4-year-old child excited as well as sitting still during an event starring someone like Sir Cliff Richard? Sweets came to the rescue. The Jubilee was an unmitigated PR success for Buckingham Palace, thanks in large to the adorably cheeky antics of the Cambridge Three. Hurrah! Celebrations! It was time to have a pims and put one's church brogues up for a bit. I think that maybe there was something much darker going on last weekend. The monarchy won the battle for hearts and minds during the Jubilee, and this success came at the expense of George, Charlotte, and Louis. Up until now, William and Kate have meted out glimpses of their three children to the public and the press with incredible precision and care. The three young royals were like white rhinos on the Serengeti, rare and exotic creatures that we would get fleeting, tantalizing glimpses of when Kensington Palace would put out pictures taken by Kate to mark their birthdays. Everything was calculated, weighed, and measured. Not a second more access was afforded to the outsiders than was necessary. This was the informal bargain struck between the palace and the press nearly 10 years ago when George was a baby. This all seems to have gone out the window over the weekend. The fact that the palace rolled out the children was not a huge surprise. William, too, made his debut in the trooping carriage procession at the age of 4. But what was surprising was the degree to which George, Charlotte, and Louis seemed everywhere all of a sudden. We were fortunate to witness one delightful picture of Louis after the other. Were the Cambridge children being unleashed as working members of the royal family? And was this the starting gun being fired on their palace careers? The world looked on as the children giggled, clapped, waved, and sang along in full view of the world and the global media. These children were instantly transformed into public property to a degree they have never been before. Whether it was conscious or not, what we were watching was a rebranding exercise. On Saturday, George and Charlotte joined their parents in Cardiff. For official engagements, it has always been William and Kate as a dynamic duo. During the visit to Wales, as well as over the Jubilee, we witnessed the repacking of that double act into an eminently more remarkable family unit. The entire world has just loved this and lapped it all up. And why not? Even Prince Charles got in the act and was seen bouncing his grandson on his knee. The royals were clearly loving the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Buckingham Palace clearly had a strategy. It played its 3 Cambridge ace cards for sensational effect. The Jubilee was underpinned by a certain desperation to try and clear away the bitter taste of Megxit and Prince Andrew. Now that the Cambridge kidlet genie is out of the bottle, it is impossible to put it back inside. William and Kate have made their formal debut as public figures. Could there now be a change to the equilibrium Kensington Palace enjoys with the British press? Will William and Kate still be able to occupy the moral high ground and insist on privacy for their 3 children, even if they are selectively willing to expose their children when it suits them? The global spotlight on these children has been huge. And now it is only going to get hotter and more intense. Fleet Street does not usually publish photographs of George, Charlotte, and Louis taken unawares, but magazines and newspapers do, even outside of the United Kingdom. German and Italian tabloids especially, they have absolutely no compunction and often do. But now, what is the price that George, Charlotte, and Louis might have to pay as people? Enormous emotional and psychological demands are placed on frontline royal children. This makes me feel very uncomfortable. How odd it is that there is no other industry other than the royal family where children as young as 4 can be put to work and the whole world cheers them on. We have reliable sources for this. Harry has already spoken twice about the acute personal toll of being forced to occupy a public role. As a child, he was made to walk behind his mother's coffin at the tender age of 12. This is only 3 years older than George is right now. During a 2017 Newsweek interview, Harry revealed that after his mother died, he had to walk a long way behind her coffin on the day of the funeral. He stated that he was surrounded by thousands of people who watched him. There were millions more who did so too on television. Harry feels that under no circumstances should any child be made to do that. Harry revealed that he did not think the same thing would happen today. But I'm not so sure it wouldn't happen after the events of the Jubilee. What I don't quite understand is why William and Kate have okayed this dramatic change in their party line when it comes to their children. As adults, they have both made the conscious decision to devote themselves to the monarchy. They have also talked about the fact that they would like their children to have as normal a childhood as possible. Have things changed? There were years of doing the school run, going to parents' evenings, even going down to the pub and teaching their children the dark art of using the self-checkout at Waitrose. Even if we leave aside the question of motivation, are there other possible damaging consequences this strategy could have for the royal family? By showing their children off to the public, the monarchy runs the risk of coming across as looking mercenary, essentially using their children to gain better public approval ratings. This could possibly sacrifice the emotional well-being of the Queen and the country. This is interesting because it is exactly what Harry warned the world about. I'm not saying for 1 minute that any of this would have been easy for William and Kate. There is no doubt the pressure on them must be enormous. To deploy their children for the greater royal good and as loving parents, where they only want the best for them, they must be having to make incredibly hard decisions. The primary responsibility of the Duke and Duchess is to safeguard the future of the monarchy. But now, as parents, their primary responsibility is to do everything within their power to protect their children. Next month, in Birmingham, the Common Games will begin. William and Kate are likely to show up with their Union Jack flags waving a bit for Team Great Britain. And will we see George, Charlotte and Louis there too? Mike Tyndall stated during the podcast that it is not very easy for young ones. It's actually very tough for them. Mike continued to say that as any parent knows, you do whatever needs to be done. The same would go for kings and queens in waiting too. And you, what do you think about this news? Please tell me what you think in the comment section below, and we can talk about the royal family. If you found my video interesting, please remember to like it and share it with anyone you feel may enjoy it. And besides that, please don't forget to subscribe to the Sussex Daily news channel to get more future updates. Now thank you for watching. Goodbye and see you tomorrow.